on October 8, expressing grief for Dr. Zam Myint Maung's loss and urging the release of political detainees. This is the statement that is made. The loss of Dr. Zam Myint Maung, a former Mandalay chief minister and vice chairman of the National League for Democracy, NLD, was deeply regretted in the United States. Dr. Zam Myint Maung was an important collaborator for the United States, who is essential in promoting improved communication and collaboration between our two nations. We fear that during Dr. Zam Myint Maung's imprisonment by the military government of Burma, after the coup in 2021, his health declined. Prior to this, from 1990 to 2009, Dr. Zam Myint Maung was detained for 19 years as a prisoner of conscience. The loss of Dr. Zam Myint Maung serves as a reminder of the enormous sacrifices made by the Burmese people in their struggle for a democratic society that is inclusive and representative. Burma's current situation can only be resolved by honoring the rights of every citizen and guaranteeing them a say in the development of the nation. Political leaders need to have unrestricted access to the political arena. The military government in Burma is urged by the U.S. act promptly. Tagged U.S. State Department, Dr. Zam Myint Maung. Monday saw the death in junta detention of Dr. Zam Myint Maung, a steadfast and long-standing leader of Myanmar's democratic movement and a close ally of the imprisoned leader Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. He was 73. The well-known politician and four-time elected member served as the National League for Democracy's NLD deputy chair in addition to serving as the chief minister of the Mandalay region. Following the military takeover in February 2021, he was arrested, along with key NLD members including as Daw Aung San Suu Kyi. His passing was verified by a statement posted on the party's social media pages. Following Khutin's death, a number of well-known politicians, including Speaker of the Parliament Numan Kurtulmus, expressed their condolences. Khutin, who was born in 1930, was first elected to the legislature in 1977 as a member of the National Salvation Party, MSP. In the coalition government that was formed that year, he held the position of Minister for Construction and Resettlement. He spent more than 9 months in prison following the military takeover in 1980, along with other leaders of the MSP. Khutin resumed his political career after the coup by rising to the position of deputy leader of the 1983 founded Welfare Party, RP. After winning a seat in the Malatya Parliament, he worked in the Energy and Natural Resources Minister in 1996 and 1997. Following the RP's dissolution, Khutin led the Virtue Party, FP, which took its place. Khutin joined the SP in 2001 as one of its founder members when it was likewise dissolved. In 2003, he gave Nekmetin Erbakan the reins of power, but after Erbakan resigned in 2004, he took it back. After being re-elected as party leader in 2006, Khutin remained in that position until 2008, when he turned over the reins to Kurtulmus. The Felicity Party, SP, a faction of the Turkish opposition, declared on Monday that its founder, Ritsai Khutin, had died at the age of 94. Ritsai Khutin, our beloved elder, passed away. The party said on X, "We send our condolences to our nation and community." After serving nearly 10 months in prison following the 1980 military takeover alongside other MSP officials, Khutin, a first-time legislator from the eastern Malatya province who had been elected to the National Salvation Party, MSP, in 1977 elections, was released. Upon his acquittal by the Military Court of Cassation, he proceeded to hold the position of deputy chair of the 1983 founded Welfare Party, RP. Between 1996 to 97, Khutin was the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources under the 54th administration of Nekmetin Erbakan, the head of RP. Following the closure of the RP, Khutin was chosen to lead the Virtue Party and was later outlawed in June 2001. After that, in 2001, Khutin and Erbakan founded SP, which he presided over until 2008. Temel Karamaloglu, who declared in May that he would stand down owing to health difficulties, is the head of the SP today. He has not been replaced during an ordinary Congress. Nicholas Pryor was a prolific character actor who spent 7 decades playing the father of Tom Cruise in Risky Business and Kathleen Robertson on Beverly Hills 90210. He passed away. He was 89. As reported by his wife, the actress Christine Belford, to The Hollywood Reporter, Pryor passed away on Monday at his Wilmington, North Carolina, home from cancer. He wrote, Nicholas Pryor was enormously grateful to have been, for nearly 70 years, a working actor, in a note that was to be handed to TR following his passing. From 1994 to 1997, Pryor reprised his role as A. Milton Arnold, the father of Robertson's Claire Arnold and Chancellor of California University, in Fox's Beverly Hills, 90210. Additionally, Kirsten Bennett, played by Paula Devick, had him as her father on Party of Five, another Fox series. In the 1987 to 1988 NBC drama The Bronx Zoo, which starred Edward Asner and was created by Gary David Goldberg, he had the role of Vice Principal Jack Feldspar. Pryor starred as the unfortunate spouse of Barbara Feldon in Michael Ritchie's Smile, 1975. The pipe-smoking college professor in Charles Bale's The Gumball Rally, 1976, who drives in an AC Cobra with Michael Sarrazin, and The Museum filmmaker who dies in a train yard in Damien, Omen 2, 1978, and Robert Downey's father. In Less Than Zero, 1987, Jr. played a drug-addled Julian. On January 28, 1935, Nicholas David Probst was born in Baltimore. Stanley, his father, was employed at the pharmaceutical company. Laura Siegel, 96, passed away on Monday. She was an Austrian-American author of autobiographical novels and short tales based on her experiences escaping Nazi-occupied Vienna as a Jewish refugee to England and then relocating to the U.S. Her output included 8 children's books, 4 translations, 5 novels, and 13 short pieces, several of which were published in The New Yorker. Shakespeare's Kitchen, her 4th book, was a 2008 Pulitzer Prize finalist. According to Netanya Johns of Sort of Books, Siegel's UK publisher, Siegel, was an extraordinary writer. Every page revealed the inner workings of a remarkably perceptive, yet empathetic, mind, fully in control of her craft. Siegel was born into a Jewish household in 1928 as Lore Weiler Grossman in Vienna. Siegel went to London in December 1938 as part of the Kindertransport, a British initiative to protect primarily Jewish children from Nazi persecution, by placing them with foster families in the United Kingdom. The project was launched after Hitler invaded Austria in March. Siegel resided with 5 different foster homes in the United Kingdom. Her debut book, Other People's Houses, was inspired by this event and was released in 1964. After the war, she remained in the UK to attend Bedford College and study English literature. University of London. Other People's Houses by Laura Siegel Review. Seymour. She relocated to the Dominican Republic with her mother, where her uncle was awaiting a family visa to enter the United States. After receiving her visa in 1951, Siegel relocated to Washington Heights, New York, along with her mother, uncle, and grandmother. Siegel held jobs as a textile designer, secretary, and clerk. Her first American, her 3rd book. Senator John Arthur Smith was an exceptional public servant who was also a beloved colleague and mentor of mine, as well as many other public officials in our state. I join the people of New Mexico in grieving his passing today. Senator Smith continuously sought to raise the standard of living for all New Mexicans while adhering to fiscal restraint. His direction of the Senate Finance Committee contributed to the state's recovery, financial stability, and gained the respect of peers from all political persuasions. In addition to being a skilled politician, the senator had integrity and kindness. He offered a model of moral behavior and decorum that all elected. It would be prudent for officials to do so, particularly those in Washington, D.C. The legacy Senator Smith has left behind from his career of service to New Mexico will help our communities for many years to come. We all New Mexicans are obliged to be grateful to him. There will soon be an announcement about the lowering of state flags in recognition of Senator John Arthur Smith's numerous accomplishments to New Mexico, his wife, Jeanette, his family, and the many people whose lives he impacted are in our thoughts and prayers. I hope he finds peace. John Arthur served as the senator for Senate District 35 for 32 years, representing all of the rural, ranch, and small company values of the region. His thrifty management of the state's budget reflected these ideals. Gallup Senator George Munoz, the chairman of the Legislative Finance Committee, stated in a statement that every New Mexican owes a debt to John Arthur Smith. In prosperous and terrible times, he safeguarded the state's finances, although he was criticized for being frugal. According to Union General Secretary Gej Tavella, Hadiema Makudin hoped that polarization would not take center stage in the discussion of joining the European Union because the matter was much too significant to be politicized. Speaking in front of the Prime Minister at the Union's General Council meeting, Mr. Vella stated, "The choice of whether or not Malta should join the EU is very important. Governments change over time. However, the prospects for our children are far too essential for party politics to jeopardize." According to Mr. Vella and UHM President Gej Titandi, the Union has conducted a number of studies that demonstrate why it is logical for Malta to join the EU on a political, economic, and social level. The General Secretary of the European Trade Union Confederation, Emilio Gabalio, made a speech earlier this month in which he stated that the European superstate is a bogeyman invented by the Eurosceptics, and it does not exist either now or on a distant horizon, which he claimed gave the Union great comfort. According to Mr. Vella, there were a lot of other things in Mr. Gabalio's speech that should allay the fears of Euroscepticism on the loss of sovereignty and neutrality. Despite being an island, Prime Minister Edi Fenech Adami stated that events occurring elsewhere in the world had an impact on Malta life quality. He stated, "The Malta Council for Social and Economic Development should continue to grow," said Dr. Fenech Adami's wish. Significant progress had been made, and a greater number of women were joining the workforce. In fact, this year's female participation rate increased to 29.3% from 26.8% in 1998. According to the Prime Minister, the UHM owed it to its members to inform them of the implications of joining the EU. The government feels that there are significantly more benefits to membership than drawbacks. Dr. Fenech Adami stated, "I'm sure the UHM has come to the same conclusion, and I implore the Union to keep in touch with its members to assist them in creating the best futures for their families and themselves." Former Israeli colonel and businessman Elhanan Tannenbaum died on Monday at the age of 78. Tannenbaum's role in a significant Hezbollah kidnapping and the contentious prisoner swap that transpired later in the 2000s made him notorious. His funeral service will take place in the Herzliya Cemetery on Tuesday at 2 p.m. In 2000, Tannenbaum visited Lebanon on the pretense of looking for information regarding Israeli airman Ron Arad, who went missing and was kidnapped by Hezbollah. But later on, it became clear that he had been drawn there as part of a drug trafficking enterprise driven by severe financial difficulties. He was a colonel in the Israeli Artillery Corps Reserves at the time of his kidnapping. In exchange for Tannenbaum's release in 2004, approximately 400 Palestinian and Lebanese detainees, including known terrorists, as well as the bodies of 3 Israeli soldiers kidnapped on Mount Dov were exchanged. At least 27 additional Israelis lost their lives as a result of the agreement, which provoked national discussion and controversy. Many of the freed convicts later resorted back to terrorism. Over 50% of those released were reported to have been detained again due to their involvement in other terrorist actions. The agreement was criticized for creating a risky precedent for Israel. Kopelman was born in Brookline, Massachusetts, to Frank and Ruth Kopelman, who were Jewish. After graduating from Harvard Law School, Frank Kopelman worked as a professor at Boston University and as a lawyer. He was the youngest judge appointed in the history of the state when he took a position as a judge in Boston. 5. David Kopelman, Kopelman's twin brother, followed in their father's footsteps by attending Harvard for his undergraduate and law degrees before going on to become a judge. 6. Following his education at the Boston Latin School and Williston Northampton School, Kopelman obtained an MBA from Columbia Business School and finished his undergraduate studies at Johns Hopkins University. 7.8. His first position following business school was employed in Procter & Gamble's training program at its Cincinnati, Ohio, headquarters. 9. After working for the company for 3 years, he was hired as an account executive by Doyle Dane Bernbach, aka DDB Worldwide. Over the course of the following 20 years, he rose up the ranks to become vice chairman and then general manager. Kopelman worked for JB Liquors, Heinz Ketchup, and Chanel, one of his biggest customers, while he was employed at DDB Worldwide. Kopelman was appointed president and chief operational officer of Chanel Incorporated in 1985 by Chanel's owners, Alain and Gerard Wertheimer, at their New York City headquarters. By then, Kopelman was in possession of a 14-year collaboration with Chanel via DDB, wherein he developed marketing campaigns for the company. During the course of the following 19 years, Kopelman led Chanel to become a multi-billion-dollar corporation. By growing the brand to include its core retail, fragrance, cosmetics, skincare, eyewear, and accessory divisions,